Britannica Tales Around the World is a series of animated VHS tapes hosted by Pat Maria, aka the dude from Karate Kid in a purple shirt, telling a more familiar fairy tale and two others that are very similar. I think this is a beautiful concept because, especially in America, there's a lot of feelings of
America is the greatest thing to ever happen to humanity. Who cares about the rest of the world? Yeehaw!
So introducing people to lesser known stories from around the world with a more familiar one just feels perfect. And each story also has a unique art style similar to the art style of the culture. They made a handful of these produced by Kids Classics with a K. Though there were also about a bazillion re-releases that for whatever reason took out the Pat Morita segments. So let's start the tales with Beauty and the Beast. Whoa, this intro is giving very eyewitness animal videos we watched in school. So on the purple spiral thing, there was a purple castle, home to purple Pat Morita, and a purple earth. Purple's my favorite color. And mine's blue.
And I like green.
Do you believe in true love? You know, where two people fall in love and live happily ever after.
Nah, this ain't Shrek, yo.
In France, people tell the story of a girl named Beauty.
For those who have only seen the Disney movie, yes, her name in fact is just Beauty.
Who didn't fall in love. But someone fell in love with her. Someone very strange and scary.
Oh, so this is that obsession movie everyone's talking about. We get a new narrator for this segment that talks about Beauty and her family. Again, like the original story, Beauty's father was a rich merchant until a bad storm ruined his career and they had to move to the countryside. He goes to try his luck in town, and like the original tale, Beauty actually has siblings. In the original story, she has 5 sisters and 6 brothers, though most adaptations, other than the Disney one, usually shortens it to 3 to 2 sisters, and very rarely do they adapt the brothers. This is because the sisters are actually important to the plot because they ask for crazy gifts, while Beauty only just wants a simple rose, though out of season. But the merchant doesn't have any luck selling, and it starts snowing, and no, his name is not Maurice, and he loses his horse, and I think he gets abducted by aliens. No, he actually just finds the Beast's castle, which seems to be the castle of the crystal. The film is in a slight German expressionist style, which I really like. You know, it's like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I think it looks nice. Though it's not very French expressionist, which seems to be very messy and kind of blurry for a painting. Though the people of Alsace-Lorraine would like it. The merchant lets himself in to dinner without any talking inanimate objects. But things go south the next day as the old man picks a rose from the garden, and that really sets the Beast off, who in this seems to be a just straight up demon. And yes, him picking the rose by itself is the thing that sets him off. Not trespassing, and no, the rose is not connected to his life. He just really likes his roses.
I have saved your life by welcoming you into my castle, and in return you steal my roses, which I value above everything.
Maybe just put up a fence, my guy. The merchant begs for his life because it's just a rose for his daughter. Well, the Beast says it's either him or his daughter, but he provides him a magic horse to send him home. He tells his daughters what's going on, and Beauty that night decides to sneak off with the magic horse, taking her father's place. But the Beast takes a liking to her, giving her a fancy room and a magic mirror to see her family. Also, Zula blue fire is gonna make this castle real toasty. Ha, scream. Well, she thinks you're creepy, but, you know, what better time to propose?
What can I say so you won't be angry?
Say yes or no, whichever is truthful.
Come on, Beastie Boy, the worst thing she could say is no.
Hell no! Are you crazy? Why are you dressed in that stupid costume? What are you supposed to be anyway? Get out of my face.
Then Good night.
As time passes, Beauty doesn't have any teapots to talk to or anything, but the two start talking during their daily walk in the garden. But Beast gets set off by a deer that he wants to jump.
Remember that things are not always as they seem, like the rose that brought you to me. It is beautiful to look at, but its thorns are painful to touch.
Solid line read, you can actually hear the hurt in his voice. As the seasons turn over, she starts missing her family, but the Beast will miss her more, so no longer than a week can she go. She heads back to her home, and her sisters start getting jealous about all of her gifts from the Beast, so keeps her around longer. But because of this, with the Beast having no human contact, he starts dying from loneliness. Beauty finds him and starts crying, admitting that she loves him. And with the tear turning him into Anakin Skywalker, who was turned into a beast from an off-screen evil fairy until someone can admit to loving him for more than just his status. And Beauty says, why not?
But beauty doesn't always have to be a girl. And the Beast always doesn't have to be a boy.
I would love to see something like that. There's way too many stories of women falling in love with monsters. There really aren't that many lewd stories of the reverse.
Here's a story from China, in which Beauty is a handsome young man, and the Beast is, well, just watch.
Our second story is the Chinese Parrot, based on the serving girl or the waiting maid parrot, about a lady named Lin Li who takes care of a parrot for someone. In the original tale, it was a rich guy, but here they changed into a sorcerer, I guess just to be cooler. Lin Li's upset because she's poor and single, so her parrot will be her wingman. Finding Leon Su, the rich scholar, who's also having trouble with his Tinder. The parrot leads him to her, they like each other, and they write poetry, but the poetry starts not getting delivered. But that night...
Don't be afraid. I am the parrot.
Very normal dream, to be honest.
My sister, Lin Li, whom you love, is also not as she seems.
So yeah, Lin Li was actually a parrot before. In the original tale, it was because it was a previous life, but she was actually turned into a human by the sorcerer. I mean, it happens all the time, that's why women are also called chicks. The sorcerer is also getting jealous about the poetry, so turns Lin Li into stone. In the original tale, the rich man just clobbered her and stuffed her in a coffin. You know, for kids. The sister parrot tried alerting him, but she was shot down. I guess is astral projecting in sleep. So he rides to find Lin Li's tomb, and luckily, just like in the Pokemon movie, a little bit of tearing turns the stone back to life. They live together happily ever after, freeing all the parrots they can, and I guess the sorcerer was pecked to death by other parrots. I don't know, they don't explain.
In the Arctic, a few hundred miles from the North Pole, people tell the story of Sedna, a beauty who loved her beast, but only for a while.
The next story is of Sedna, who's a major figure in Inuit traditional religion. Might be a bit weird comparing traditional religion to fairy tales, despite the fact we do it with Greek mythology all the time, though Britannica did do some Christian stories, so it's not completely biased, like, ugh, look at these pagans. This is set long ago when Sedna was still human with her dad in a world full of nothing but snow, ice, and the water was made from milk. Then someone arrives with a big spoon for the cereal. The guy asks out Sedna to go to the land of birds. Be amazed the beast wasn't designed with a beak in this story, given how many birds are in these. Sedna goes willingly, which is the nice version, because the original tale was that her dad traded her for fish, and sometimes she was drugged. They paddled into the milk for a while, and it turns out the hunter was a bird, which I guess is why he wanted to bring her. It was fine for a while, but she gets tired. Luckily, Dad arrives. But Wan Chi Tong can't take no for an answer, so make chase. So he causes a storm, and Sedna's dad literally pushes her off the side of the canoe. But from this, out from her fingertips sprouts sea life for the first time. In every version of the story, it's because Sedna's fingers are either chopped off or broken, but here I guess they wanted to be a little PG. Her father, Angita, eventually makes it to land, but then some sea life causes him to crack and fall into the ocean. He ends up in his daughter's court, and I guess they made up eventually. Nguta sometimes is either just immortal, sometimes he's the guide of the dead, and sometimes he gets super promoted to be Big G God because he's the creator god.
Do you believe in true love? It worked for Beauty and her Beast. It worked for the Chinese parrot. But Sedna never found true love, even though she became a goddess.
Fair trade TBH, though I guess it kinda does break the theme, doesn't it?
This is Pat Morita, and I don't know about you, but I believe in true love. After all, it happened to me.
Overall, this was really cool. Beauty and the Beast was definitely the best one. I loved its style, kinda like if Beauty and the Beast was directed by Tim Burton. Though it's super condensed, they had to fit 3 stories, of course. The Chinese parrot felt the most kind of filler-like, but it was interesting to hear a story I never heard before. The Sedna mythology is interesting, and I'm glad it was actually given some time to shine for people who don't know that much about Inuit culture, outside of Igloo. The art direction's really good, though the animation's kind of below standard, with some choppy bits. But there's definitely far worse Beauty and the Beast adaptations, and I love the concept of comparing a familiar story to lesser known ones. 5.5 out of 10. But let me know what you thought about this down below, as well as hitting the like button and subscribing if you're new. Hype it on mobile, I appreciate you.